I first shared this post on my Facebook page, I was so surprised to see how many people from Maine had never heard about this case. Have you ever seen this beautiful lady before? Her name is Celeste Doghmi, and she was last seen leaving her home in Auburn, Maine. Celeste was born in Germany, and at the age of 2 years old, she moved from Germany to the US, specifically Frankfurt to Florida. After that, she did eventually move to Maine, but we'll get into the specific details of how she got to Maine. At the time of disappearance, Celeste was 5'2", 110 pounds. She is a Black female with brown hair and brown eyes. Celeste also has some very distinctive tattoos. Celeste has a big dream catcher on her left thigh, the name John on her left breast. She also has several piercings as well too. So we're just gonna jump right into the craziness. Celeste was not reported missing for 2 years. The official listing says that she was last seen July 6, 2021, but she was not officially reported a missing person until May 3rd, 2023. 2 years. 2 years until she was reported as an official missing persons with the police department. That is crazy. But at the time of disappearance, Celeste was 27 years old, which would put her around 31 years old right now. The people who knew Celeste said that she had such a big heart, was a caring and loving individual, that she always forgave people and wanted to see the best in people. Like I had mentioned before, Celeste had moved from Germany to Florida. She grew up in Florida. Around her teenage years, she did have some issues and run-ins with the law. Specifically at 19 and 20 years old, she had gotten arrested and they were felony charges. But as time went on, Celeste wanted to walk away from that life. It was in 2018 that she had moved from Florida to Louisiana. So something I forgot to add was the fact that Celeste grew up with her mother only, Stephanie. So Celeste and her mother, Stephanie, moved in 2018 from Florida to Louisiana. This move was basically because Celeste just wanted a fresh start. Things were getting pretty rough in Florida. She had issues as a juvenile, so the move from Florida to Louisiana was just a fresh start for the family. It wasn't until Celeste moved to Louisiana that she had met this man, John Alexander Benton. John worked in landscaping when he was living in Louisiana. John also has family that lives in Maine. But what Stephanie, Celeste's mom, had seen of John, she did not really like. She also didn't approve of them dating, which ended up causing some tension between Celeste and her mom, Stephanie. Time goes on and Celeste and her mom decide to move from Louisiana to Mississippi. And at that point, John decided he was going to come with them. He was going to move in with them. And it was at that point that Stephanie, Celeste's mom, had really began to see John for who he was. He was doing drugs, drinking, fighting, and she says that she had seen John physically abuse Celeste in more than one occasion. It was at that point that Stephanie had said to John, "You need to stop what you're doing, because if not, it's going to get to a level that is beyond the police." And at that point, John had moved from Mississippi back to Maine to be with his parents. With John out of the house now, Stephanie was hoping that her and Celeste could just start fresh. He was back in Maine. They were here. Stephanie was really encouraging them to not have any contact at all. But at a certain point, Stephanie had just gotten to the mindset that she didn't want to be in the middle of everything. She didn't want to be so inserted into her daughter's life that she was now making decisions about that, which I honestly, I respect. Boundaries, those are important. A month and a half later, Celeste started getting emails from John, and that's when she packed her bags and moved up to Maine. The move to Maine happened around 2018, 2019. When she moved to Maine, she ended up getting pregnant and having a son. Her son was born in early 2021. But what's interesting is that when Celeste was giving birth, she told the nurses and doctors that she was being physically abused at home and that John had abused her throughout her pregnancy. After giving birth, things unfortunately didn't get much better for Celeste. Celeste was being abused by her boyfriend. She didn't have really anybody in Maine, no support at all. Her mom, after she had left from Mississippi to Maine, her mom, Stephanie, ended up moving back to Germany. All she had was one friend that she spoke to that lived in Florida. It wasn't until July 6, 2021, Celeste was on FaceTime with one of her friends that lived in Florida. Celeste was showing signs that she had been abused. She had a bald spot on her scalp. It had just looked like she had been assaulted. Her friend had offered to buy her a plane ticket to come down there and stay with her. But at that point, John had come in screaming, yelling, and ended up taking Celeste's phone. The friend had tried to call back several times, and there was no answer. That was the last time that friend had heard anything from Celeste. Celeste's last known social media post was made on August 2nd, 2021. Since then, nobody has heard anything from her. Her boyfriend, John Benton, he did not even file her as a missing persons. It wasn't until April 2023 that Benton was arrested for domestic violence on a different girlfriend. The police and Maine DHS had tried to locate Celeste at this time so she could take custody of her son because John was now gonna be locked up. And that's when they realized they couldn't find Celeste. And John just told the police, back in the summer of 2021, I saw her just walk away from the home after we had a fight. Never reported her missing or anything, and Celeste still remains missing to this day. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, because this whole story is crazy to me.